gods and goddesses stories. Telling human interest stories reflect the time and place of where he lived. What's this story about? Well, it's really about how there's a famine, and he has to go south to Egypt, and one of these are several trips that they take down to Egypt, and Sarah's so beautiful that her beauty is reported to Pharaoh through the officials. So Pharaoh took her into his palace. Obviously, he's got lots of wives. He took her in there too. And he treated Abraham well because of her. Because Abraham earlier, before he went into Egypt, he said to his wife, listen to what he told her. Look, you're a beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they'll say, hey, look at that guy's wife. And then they'll kill me and spare you. So therefore, look, tell them you're my sister, so that they'll treat me well because of you and spare my life out of regard for you. Is this showing Abraham to be very heroic? He's just trying to save his skin. He doesn't care if someone uses his wife, right? As long as he survives, which is okay. I can sympathize with him, actually. I think if you men and women loved your husband and you were given the choice, look, your husband's a dead man, or you're going to have to go in there and play ball with these people in the palace, for the time being, you'd probably agree to go in there and play ball rather than get your husband killed. Because they'd take you anyway, so you wouldn't gain anything from getting your husband killed. They'd still take you, right? But it just doesn't look like a very nice story about the father of the Hebrew people. That basically he's selling his wife. Not only is he selling his wife, look, he treats Abraham well because of her. He gets flocks, oxen, donkeys. He's having a good time with her in there. He likes it. Donkeys, men, women, slaves, she-donkeys, camels. There's the anachronism that I might have mentioned to you, that we're not sure camels were domesticated at that time. People say camels weren't domesticated until 1000 BC. I'm not sure that's true or not, but they think that the Hebrews only had donkeys. That's one of the theories that Albright, one of the famous American archaeologists of the previous century, circulated, that basically the difference between Arabs and Hebrews are that the Hebrews were donkey people and the Arabs were camel people. That's not to say that donkeys are such a bad animal. The point is donkeys need more water than camels, and since they were caravanners and tradesmen, and therefore they had to stick close to the water sites, because a donkey can't go without water probably for more than a day, whereas a camel makes it possible to go in the deep desert. And the only way that you can go in the deep desert is with a camel, but you would have to wait till camels were domesticated. Their theory is there's no evidence from Egyptian inscriptions or other information that camels came into use in a domesticated way before around 1000 BC. To my mind, that's a really stupid theory, but that's the evidence shows that. I can't imagine people didn't domesticate camels long before that, but that's what the evidence is. They claim the evidence suggests. So that on that evidence, they say this is an anachronism, that he couldn't have had camels at this time, because this is around 2000 BC. So, the picture that Abraham is the first Arab is wrong. Arabs depend on camels. Hebrews are only caravanning near the water areas with donkeys and other similar beasts of burden. Notice how just in the Moses story, Yahweh inflicts plagues on Pharaoh. So there's even an echo here, or a foretaste, or a suggestion of the plagues of Egypt in the Exodus story. It's not developed like it is in the Exodus story, right? It doesn't turn into the Passover, but there's a suggestion. So he tortures him because of what he's doing to Abraham's wife. So he's obviously been sleeping with her. Let's put it bluntly. There's no way of getting around this. So Pharaoh summoned Abraham and said, "What is this you have done to me?" The same as Cain, the same as Ham with his father Noah. "What did he do to me? What have you done to me? You let me sleep with your wife, and I didn't know she was your wife, and now you brought all this curse of God horror on me. You've really been not square with me." Why did you say she's my sister? So I took her to be my wife. See, I took her. He says, here, take your wife. And Pharaoh permitted men to escort him back to the frontier with his wife and everything he possessed.
It says I might have taken her.
Well, that's an English, that's your editor probably doesn't want you to think that he took her. He took her. Sorry about that, but he took her. But I'll give you the next story where he might have taken her. That's the whole point. Put your finger in the slot there. I hate to go way ahead, but we'll go ahead. And there are two more stories like this, which are basically just a spin-off of this story from other source lines. Other source lines because our writer has stitched them together again. The first one, or the second one if you like, is on chapter 20. But my Bible's so good because I've got these things all titled here. I can find them in a minute. You can't find them that quick without a good titled Bible if you don't have a Bible with good titles in it. Some of you I see are getting them, and I congratulate you for having gotten them. They're worth having. This is 21, Abraham at Gerar. That's a Philistine city now, not in Sinai, but not in Egypt, but it's the same story. This, the first one looks like it was a Yahwist one. This is looks like it's an Elohist. It uses the name of God instead of Yahweh. Abraham left the land of the Negev. The Negev is involved in the story, as you see. Settled with Kadesh and Sinur. So I'm going to note that the Negev is in both stories. In both stories, something I never noticed before. Settled before Kadesh and Shur, stayed there at Gerar. And his wife Sarah, she's called Sarah by this time, Abraham said, she is my sister. Doing the same trick again. And Abimelech, not the Pharaoh, king of Gerar, had Sarah brought to him. Now this story is different. Before he can get her in the house and live with her for almost a year and reward Abraham with all kinds of gifts because of what he was doing in the house with her. If I can be crude, will you allow me to be crude? Anyone object too strenuously? Now the guy's more Puritan when he's writing this. God visited Abimelech in a dream at night and warned him. This is not as good a story, by the way. The Puritanism of this story has gotten in the way of the great plot of the other story, hasn't it? Once again, the Yahwist is the great story.